Hey there, did you know that right now someone's trying to use your website on a mobile phone and they probably are having trouble and they're probably giving up? In this video, I'll show you the 5 deadly mobile website mistakes that are massacring your sales and preventing people from getting done on your website what you want them to do and what they want to do. And I'll share with you the design principles in order to fix them. So let's stop the mobile massacre. So the main point of your website is to sell. Even if you're a nonprofit, your website should be marketing and selling what you do and how you impact your chosen field for the better. If your website is not giving your visitors a good user experience, then it's missing, or UX, it's missing the mark, and worse, it may even be damaging your reputation. So everything that follows with it is within the realm of user experience. Let's go. The first point, the speed kill, the problem. Slow loading mobile pages. If you look in your website logs or analytics software, you'll find some symptoms, and those are high bounce rates. People are showing up onto a page, they're not going to another page, and then they disappear from your logs. Abandoned carts, that can be found in your cart software. Or you used to rank high in the search engines, and now you don't. They're disappeared. So how do you go about, what are some principles to help fix these problems with slow websites? First thing is to compress images. I've seen where here lately people are using very large images, and they forget that some people, even if you have a high-speed phone, 5G phone or 4G LTE phone, you are going to be sometimes in an area with a slow connection. And you'll have 3G speeds. And if you have 1 megabyte images and 6 of them on the same page, you're having to download 6 megabytes, and that's a lot. I've even seen websites where somebody was throwing up full-size images. They weren't compressing them, and it was a nightmare. So make sure that you compress your images. Enable browser caching. So at least if you did have really huge website, images, at least they'd be cached in the browser for a very long time so that the user would never have to download them again. But again, compress your images and then use caching. So even when they are the proper size, people are able to store them on their computer so it appears that your website is really fast. Minimize your code. In this day and age, everything is really beautiful and you've got all of these moving things on the website, and we forget that all of that fancy bells and whistles comes with added code. So try to trim your code down to just what you need to get done what your user wants to do and what you want them to do. Another thing is, if you wanted to take it to the next level, type in this search term into a search engine, your favorite search engine, mobile speed test. That'll bring up a whole bunch of results. You can go to all these websites, put in your website's URL or your address, and they'll give you all sorts of tips and tricks on how to fix your website and make it faster. Second point, the thumb war. You know, people are, sometimes I like to do it just with one finger and swipe around. But when people try to do things on your website on their phone, are things too close together? Are the buttons too small? Are call to actions not clear? The print really small? So you'll get accidental clicks. People start getting frustrated, and after a few times, they're just like, "I'm out of here. I'm not even going to bother." And that affects your engagement. You're trying to do something on your website. If you're frustrating people and they can't really click on what they think they're clicking on, brings them to a place that they didn't intend to go, that's going to lower your engagement. So what are some solutions? Make your buttons bigger. Space the elements that you can click so that it's harder to accidentally hit something. I mean, it happens, but try to space them. Implement what's called hamburger menus. Those 3 lines at the top or at the bottom, depending on how your website is designed. You click on it or you touch it, and it drops a menu, and you can hit whatever you want, that type of thing. It's easier on a phone than trying to have a little menu like you'd have on your desktop screen. So Another thing is test it. Borrow your friends' phones, your iPhone friends, the Apple products, tablets, Android tablets and phones, and different manufacturers, and see how your site looks on those different types of phones. Next problem, the third point, is where you haven't designed responsibly, and I call it the content crunch. Your desktop content is trying to squeeze onto a mobile screen. So what does that look like? Where your text is too small, or it piles on top of each other, where you have overlapping elements. Or when you intend to scroll one way, you scroll another, or you have to scroll sideways to get over to that side. You have to pinch and zoom and move around, and that can be frustrating. People have gotten used to what's called responsive design, where everything just lays out properly according to the screen size, if it's vertical or if it's horizontal. So use responsive design. I'm not going to go into the details, but you can Google search it on your favorite search engine. Implement proper text scaling. Again, that's part of the responsive design. But generally, I'll just touch base here. You've got breakpoints and media queries. So at a certain screen size, do something with text, do something with images, do something with the design of your website. And when it gets smaller, do something else. When it gets even smaller still, make your text bigger, etc. So create a mobile specific layout for different sizes. Again, those breakpoints and your media queries. Try to prioritize. This has to do a little bit with accessibility. You want people to be able to use your website, even if they have their vision isn't the best, etc. So one of the ways that people get around on websites is they use their keyboard or even like an external device. And so try to make it so that when they do that, they're able to go down through what's called the hierarchy. You have headings, your header 1, your header 2, 3, 4 on down, and don't use those headers for design. Don't put a header 4 after header 1 without the 3 and the 2. You want to step down, and then you use your style sheets. And like I said, I'm not going to get too technical here. These are just the principles. Use your style sheets to make it look the way that you want it to look. So again, view your site using your friends' phones, desktops or whatever. Just get an idea of what it looks like. Another idea is through all of this, and I didn't mention earlier, is have them go to your website and try to do something, and then just kind of sit back and watch. There's no wrong answer to whatever they're doing. Just what are their frustrations, or where do they expect things to be, etc. So that's another idea. That's a practical principle to help you find out how to get your users to be a little happier and less frustrated on your site. So what's the fourth point? Your forms. Are people fumbling around on your form? Are they mobile unfriendly forms? What does that look like? Well, you'll see where people go to your forms and they never complete them. Again, you'll see this in your logs, your analytics, or even cart software. And they go there and they leave. So you'll have abandoned carts, abandoned forms, where you're trying to maybe get leads, your lead generation website or a landing page, and they're not filling it out. And this could be one of the reasons, is that if they're on a mobile phone and they're leaving, you might have some problems. And of course, again, it's one of the symptoms is your customers or your leads, or people who could be your customers, are frustrated. And that's not, like I said, that could impact your reputation. And that is not what you want. You want your website to represent who you are as a person, company, nonprofit, whatever it is that you're doing, and representing yourself to the world. You want it to augment, not take away. So what are some of the solutions? Try to make your forms, again, responsive. Make them a little bit bigger. Make it so that when people tap into a input field, they can actually enter things. Try to use the appropriate input types so that the phone knows where things should go. They can click on the next button. If you've noticed, you fill it out and then next, and it goes to the next field, etc. Enable autofill. Some of the mobile browsers enable you to have your information stored, so you don't have to retype everything when you go to someplace to fill out a form, etc. Add progress indicators that are mobile friendly. You've seen this where step 1, step 2, and step 3 at the top, and when you're going through that process where you are, etc. You don't get lost. And again, test it. Have your friends test it. Borrow their phone for a moment. You go to your website and play around on it, and make sure it's doing what you want. Also, submit your forms. If it is a cart, make sure that you're in a sandbox, so you're not actually buying your stuff. But make sure that your sandbox in your testing is going to a place and doing what you want it to do, so you can make sure that it's going to work when you go live. Make sure your contact forms or whatever your lead generation forms, they're actually getting submitted. They're going to the back end where you're able to keep track. Your back office software, whatever you have, so you can keep track of who submitted, what form it was, how to contact them, etc. The time they submitted the form. Make sure if you're getting notified through email or text that you are in fact getting those notifications, etc. So that's the fourth point. And the fifth point is trust and credibility. So a big problem with people is trust nowadays. And even, let me just step back. Part of what we do as people, individuals, we sell. Everything in life is marketing and sales. We're trying to convince someone. We're trying to bring our viewpoint and into a situation and have people act upon it, and in a way that we think is best for everyone. That's generally how we work as humans. Husbands are trying to sell and market what they believe, and wives are selling and marketing what they believe, etc. But part of that, and one thing that you can never get back, is trust. And if you violate trust, it like my dad used to say, it takes a long time to get that back, if ever. So when somebody comes to your website, I'll get to the point, if they don't see some things that are going to build some credibility and trust, you're going to be missing out. So how do you do that? Well, one good way is let people know you're using Stripe or PayPal or whatever your gateway is. If you've got any sort of reviews or anything like that, make sure that they're up front and centered about how awesome you are, and make sure that people understand that their information is secure, that you're not going to mess around with their information, etc. Those types of things. So what does that look like when you don't do that? Well, you'll have lower conversion rates, because when people see good reviews, they see like a Stripe or somebody, or PayPal, or somebody that they know that you're going through as far as the payment processing and the gateway, they're more apt to go ahead and pull the trigger. So you'll see high cart abandonment, and that'll be in your cart software. If people are using mobile phones but they're never buying, you probably have poor mobile engagement, and this could be one of the problems, is that they're not sensing the credibility. And how that happens is that you may be, through your styling, and somebody may have designed your website, or you got it for free through WordPress or something like that. And those markers that show trust and credibility are getting disappeared. They're getting ghosted on the phone, because there's a very small space on your screen, and sometimes those will get disappeared through the styling, etc. So you want to make sure that they are there so people can see them. So you have all the MasterCard and the Visa and PayPal options, and make sure they're there, and we're not going to sell your information, and all of this is processed on a secure server, etc. Those types of things. And reviews, 5-star reviews, have those where people can kind of see them, and work it into your design, and that helps with keeping people more engaged with your website and trust you. So, and also another idea is if they're having trouble, is to have a floating button at the bottom of the phone or the tablet or whatever on mobile, that no matter where they are, they can tap to give you a call, or tap to chat or live chat or something like that, so they can immediately solve whatever issue they're having. So you can try to get them through the process of purchasing or signing up for a newsletter or whatever it is that you're trying to do. So in conclusion, let's stop the bleeding from your mobile engagement. And remember, your mobile website isn't just a smaller version of your website, of your desktop site. It's often the first and only way that people see your website nowadays, especially because over 60% of engagement in websites are coming from mobile nowadays. So it may be the only way that people experience your business. So go and implement these solutions, and you'll transform your mobile visitors into happy customers or leads. And don't forget to hit subscribe and notification. See you later.